Hello guys, welcome to today's video. I am so excited to be sitting down filming today, chatting with you guys. I have been gone for a few weeks, so I haven't filmed for like 3 weeks at this point, and I'm just, oh my gosh, happy to be here. Don't worry about my splotchy face. I just self-tanned. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna work it out with the makeup here in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and pin my hair back because I haven't done my morning skincare yet. All I did was wash my face when I took a shower. So today I thought that I would just sit down, talk to you guys, tell you what's been going on over in my little world. I have genuinely missed sitting here talking to you guys. I'm not even kidding. It's so funny because it's like as soon as I sit down, I really do feel like I'm talking to y'all, even though you're not technically here with me. Not technically, well, not at all here with me right now while I'm filming. I still can like feel your energy and your presence. So yeah, that makes me happy. So I mentioned it in the description box of one of my most recent videos that I was away in Georgia at a horse show, and I realized that maybe that needs some explanation because I feel like, I don't know, is that random? Does that feel random to you guys? Because I'm on here talking about makeup, so I feel kind of like that's like out of left field of like, oh, I was gone for 2 weeks to a horse show. So I grew up on a farm. I've mentioned that I think a couple times before, and I've had horses almost all of my life. So I used to show horses as a kid. I do not show horses now. It is too stressful for me. I cannot handle it. But I do still go to horse shows because I oftentimes help organize them. So every year for the past few years, I have been in charge of organizing. I sounded kind of like a robot right there, didn't I? I've been in charge of organizing the national championship show for the breed of horses that I have. And it's a really big undertaking in the best of years. And not surprisingly, this year it was like extra stressful. So normally there's about like 500 horses. This year there was only 375, but it's a lot. And the whole thing lasts like almost a whole week. And that's just the competition part. So between like the setup and then the cleanup, I'm there for 2 weeks, which is nuts. I'm gonna finally try the Misha BB cream. I have been wanting to try this forever. I've had it sitting here for, months at this point, and I just have not gotten around to trying it. I'm not sure how I want to apply it. If I want to apply it with a brush or a sponge. What would Jessica Braun do? I'm just gonna try it with I think I'm gonna try it with a sponge first because it feels a little bit thicker than I think I was anticipating. I'm trying the shade 23 and it's looking a little bit gray on me, so that's not super positive, but we can warm it up later. I've been having that issue lately. The thing is that the first day that I self-tan, my self-tan is obviously the darkest, but also what I notice is that it warms my skin up a little bit. I generally have pretty neutral skin tone, and the first day after I self-tan, I tend to be a bit warmer than normal, and I think that can kind of sometimes make more balanced neutral bases look a little bit gray on me. So I definitely at this point know to make sure that I give things more than one chance, especially if I try it on a day that I've just self-tanned. It's funny because I feel like whenever I talk to people that don't have horses about horse shows, I realize just how, I guess, like much of a niche it is, because a lot of times people really don't know like what goes into that. And I really had this idea that like, oh, I should just film a day of my life when I'm at the show. But it didn't happen because basically the way that it goes when I'm working at that particular show is I get up at 5:30. I start working by 7. I would work until lunchtime so that I could, go put my daughter down for a nap, have lunch with her, put her down for a nap because she's only a year old. So she still needs mommy time, obviously. I can't just like leave her alone. And then after her nap, I would go back to work and finish up maybe around like 10 or 11. So it's literally like 16, 18-hour days. It's crazy how much work it is. And I do this as a volunteer, mind you. So it's a lot. And I'm going to be honest, this year it was really hard for me because that really used to be something that I enjoyed doing. And I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it this year, but it was definitely very different given everything that's going on. And the other thing is that I think I've realized that I've outgrown it. I want to pause real quick and say that I really like the finish of this BB cream. So definitely gonna try this a few more times and see if the color works a little bit better when it's not like fresh self-tan. This was like an aggressive amount of concealer, sorry. I say I've outgrown it because I feel as though it's just not where kind of my passion is anymore. I think that it used to be a real passion project for me. I sound like Mr. Frond from Bob's Burgers. I'm a very passionate person, so I say that like very genuinely. I don't say that to be like like a hipster or anything like that. Like I really mean that genuinely. Like I'm a passionate person. I like doing things that fill me up, that make me feel purposeful and energized. Like that's what I do. I like to, I believe would I call her a psychic? I don't know if that's the proper term. I think she's a psychic. I don't know if that's a good word. I'm not sure the word she uses. I'll put it down here. But she says that it's really important for people of my aura type to follow their bliss. And I think that's very much like a great way to put it. I am someone that just really likes to do what feels good. I don't want to do things that I don't want to do. I have never wanted to do things I don't want to do. And I know that no one wants to do things they don't want to do. Obviously, that's why they don't want to do them. But I think that I am more like resistant to doing things that I don't want to do than a lot of people are. I just am not like, if I don't feel passionate about doing something, if I don't feel really motivated to do something, I really have to like drag myself to do it. And at this point in this season of my life, I really feel like this is what I enjoy doing. I love sitting down and talking to you guys. I love coming up with video ideas. I love filming them. I love editing them. There's really not a single part of the process of posting on here that I don't really find something to enjoy about. Like, I know there are parts that I like more than others, but I enjoy all of it. And there's very few things that I feel that way about. And I think I'm just at a season in life where I'm like, you know what? I want to do the things that I love doing. And I want to stop kind of making myself feel that I have to push myself to do things that just don't feel right to me. So yes, this is a long way of saying that this is my last year doing that show. I am officially retired. I'm really happy about that. I had to put concealer right here, especially right after I self-tan, because I find that I'm like darker right here. I think this is a common thing that happens. I'm just not sure why. Why does this happen? Because I see people putting concealer here all the time, or color correcting. That would be a better term, really. They're color correcting right here, which is what I'm doing. I'm just trying to lighten it up. And I've always wondered why, but now the same thing is happening to me, that I just feel darker right here around the lips. And I'm like, yeah, I need to do something about that. This is the Laneige Gummy Bear Glowy Balm. Oh my God, I love it. It really does smell like gummy bears. I feel in the mood to like really contour. I don't know why. I think it's something about fall that I'm like, yes, let's contour. So I kind of came to the conclusion that I was, done with that horse show after it was over. I think there was just so much stress with planning something right around now, which I'm happy to say we're 2 weeks out at this point. No one got sick. Everyone is healthy. The whole team we really worked hard to make sure that we were providing a safe environment for everyone. And so I'm really proud of that. But it was so much work, you guys. It was just, again, an overwhelming amount of work and not something I'm paid to do. This is a volunteer thing that I give my time. I actually don't only give my time. My husband and I also give money. Like, we donate things. So it's like, oh my gosh, like I pay to work my butt off and stress out. So after it was over, we drove to Georgia. That's where it was, if I didn't mention that. So we had driven to Georgia and we stopped in North Carolina on the way down and then on the way back as well, because we drove since, it's hard to fly right now with a child. Like I think if it was just us, we would feel comfortable. Like it was just my husband and I. But with a 1-year-old, they touch everything. They touch things, they put their mouth, like it just seemed like safer to drive. So we stopped in North Carolina to see my family on the way down and then again on the way back. And let me tell you what, the day that we stopped on the way back in North Carolina, I think was like, it was one of the best days of my life. Like the sun was shining. It was nice, crisp fall air. I felt like this huge relief, this huge weight off my shoulders. I just felt good. I felt like there's a season change going on. And I felt like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but do you ever get that feeling of like, oh, wow, look, I really have grown. I've evolved. That's exactly what I felt like. I felt like, wow, like I'm ready to say goodbye to this chapter of my life. That sounds maybe a little bit dramatic, but I worked for, 5 years now on this show, every year, putting months and months into it, and just a lot of work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I think that I can close that chapter. I think that I can move on and say, you know what, I'm proud of what I did, and I'm okay. I'm done doing that. Like I'm moving on to, continue following my bliss, as my psychic would say, somewhere else. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I tried to explain a little bit about like the horse show because I feel like that sounds so dramatic without context, but it really is something that I put a lot of work into. Not just me, there are a lot of other people that work with me that really put a lot of work into it too, and they're all volunteers. No one gets paid for this. It's something that they do because they love the horses. So, it's just a lot of work that's gone into it, and I feel proud of it and ready to move on and be able to focus on things. Like, honestly, I feel so good about this season change, you guys. I know I don't know why I always do this. I know it's so cliche to be like, oh, I love fall, especially given my fair complexion. I know that that's so cliche, but I don't know. Fall right now feels a little something, I don't know, extra and special. It's funny, I was asking my dad when we were in North Carolina, I said, Dad, what is your favorite season? Because I realized I've never asked my dad this. It seems kind of odd that I don't know my dad's favorite season, which, fun fact, tell me in the comments, do you know your dad's favorite season? Do you? If not, ask him and let me know what his favorite season is. I want to know. So I asked my dad and he said, it's fall because that's the harvest. You get through the harvest and all your hard work has paid off. All the hard work that you've put in since spring, finally comes to fruition, because my dad thinks of everything in terms of farming. He really does, in terms of farming and animal husbandry. That is my dad's, the perspective lens through which he views everything is farming and animal husbandry. My dad grew up on a farm too. I grew up on a farm. My dad grew up on a farm. And my dad actually grew up with dairy cows, which is, oh my gosh, a lot of work. All farming is a lot of work. All raising animals is a lot of work. But it's funny because my dad, that was always what he would reference when I was a teenager. If I was complaining about things, he'd be like, well, at least you gotta wake up at 4 a.m. to milk cows every morning. You're right, Dad. At least I don't have to do that. But my dad talking about why fall was his favorite, it kind of made a lot of sense to me. And I thought about, there's so much that's associated with fall that goes back to really the harvest and, when most of the people in this country were farmers and things like that. There's so many traditions that are tied into fall that we really love that come from that. So I can see why fall is my dad's favorite. And it's funny because I never used to think fall was my favorite, and maybe it wasn't in the past, but I think that it has kind of become my favorite. When I look back on the last few years at the times that I have felt really just the most at ease and comfortable and in a good groove, I realized that, oh, it's fall. There's something about fall that every year I feel re-energized and refreshed, and I don't know, that crisp air, it just gets me. I have horses, and let me tell you what, when fall comes and that crisp air comes, horses get so excited. They're just they're out running in the pastures, they're kicking, they're oh, they're feeling good. They love that crisp fall air. And I think that humans do too. Obviously, a lot of us do. Did I put concealer up here? I don't know because I was talking, because I like to talk. So another interesting thing about going to the horse show, this was the first time that I had really been like out consistently. We don't go out a lot. And this was like, we were out every single day, obviously. And I have not had to like wear a mask for that long. And oh my gosh, the struggle is real with the maskne. I almost got maskne like the first day. And then I pulled out my Renee Rouleau. Oh my gosh, what is it? I'll put a picture of it up here so you can see it. I pulled that out and oh my God, it saved me. It literally saved me. So I highly recommend that. I've recommended it a few times. I just want to throw that out there because I really thought like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have bumps all over my chin, but Renee Rouleau saved the day. Oh my gosh, I wanted to try this new brow thing from Anastasia. I have not tried anything from Anastasia Beverly Hills in so long. I haven't, like in a year, I would say. The last thing I bought from them was the Carly Bible palette. So I'm gonna try this brow pen because I'm interested. It's supposed to make you look like you have microbladed brows. I don't know if that's like a look I want, but I do like fluffy brows. So my brows actually need a little bit of help right now, but we're gonna go with it. Oh, there's a hair in my spoolie. That's lovely. I'm gonna speed through this part because I feel like it's really boring, and I'll tell you after how it went. I don't think I'm skilled enough to do this. My brow hairs are too long right now, so they definitely need a little bit of help, but all in all, this doesn't look bad. I don't think that I'm super skilled at using it yet. It's gonna take some time, but I have been wanting a brow marker. So that's kind of why I picked this up, because I saw that it was new and I've been wanting to try. MAC has one that's like this. They've had it for a while now and I've been wanting to try it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I think I will soon because I do need to buy some new brushes. I want some new eyeshadow brushes, and I'll be honest, I just love MAC eyeshadow brushes the most. So I think when I get that, I'll pick up their brow marker just so I can, you know, compare, contrast. But I mean, it filled in nicely. I have brows to begin with, but I mean, they look more filled in and not so crazy. Today I'm going to use the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I have been loving this lately. I don't know, when I was gone, this was the palette I reached for almost daily. Like, I have been just really enjoying it. And it's funny because I didn't pick this up last year. I really wanted to, and I never did. And then this year, right before I left, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? Let me get that palette. And I don't know why, because I had just gotten the Glam palette. So I had a new palette from Natasha Denona to play with, but I just thought, let me go ahead and get this one too and play around with it. They looked different enough that I felt, you know, pretty good. This one I feel has a good mix of cool and warm, whereas the Glam palette I definitely felt was more like straight cool toned. So I thought, oh, let me try that out. And I'm really glad that I did pick this up finally because I have really been enjoying it. I think it's really nice. So I don't normally like go all out decorating for fall, but this year I said, you know what? I'm leaning into it. Why not? And I have been so happy with that decision. But you know what I'm really looking forward to is decorating for Christmas. I am a total Christmas person. I start decorating for Christmas on November 1st. For me, October is fall. The whole month of October, that's fall. November 1st, we're Christmas. That's where we're at. I know that annoys so many people so much, so I'm really sorry if you're one of them, but you know what? That's okay. In your house, you can do whatever you want to do. But I know there's a lot of really like hot debate on when it is appropriate to decorate for Christmas. Now, in my family growing up, my mom is a huge Christmas person, but even her, like, we would get our tree the day after Thanksgiving. But in years past, my mom has started going earlier and earlier. It just makes my mom so happy. And she loves, like my mom, she loves the Hallmark Christmas movies. She loves everything about Christmas. So, you know what? I think this year especially, we all need a little extra something to make us happy. Like if you want to do Halloween until February, you go for it. And if you want to do Christmas right now, you go for it. I think we all should be supportive of each other and whatever we need to get through this. It's so funny, you guys. I never go into Chatty Get Ready With Me's with like a plan for my makeup. I kind of lay some stuff out and then I just hope that I figure it out along the way. And I get so distracted talking that sometimes I feel like I'm just making a mess on my eyes. I think that's the part, like everything else is like autopilot. But when it comes to my eyes, I always have to kind of think out, what do I want to do today? What am I going to put on my eyeballs? I think I want just one more shade, like to deepen this up. So let's see, Pasha maybe? I think Pasha, because I think this looks really good with my sweater. I just got this sweater from Nordstrom. That's another thing that I do in the fall. I love fall shopping. Every year I get new sweaters, new cardigans, new layers. Like I am all about fall shopping. It's just my favorite season to shop for clothes in. So again, it's kind of odd to me that I never realized how much I really liked fall. I just kind of thought like, oh, fall, that's so cliche for people to like fall. I'm not cliche like that, you know? I just always think I'm so cool, right? I think we're all guilty of doing that at some point though. I really think it comes from the fact that when I was like 14, 15, being emo was like really what was in. And my friends and I, even though we weren't emo, we were definitely extremely preppy. We still listened to like the emo music and felt like, oh, we're so different and angsty. So I definitely have that in me. Wow, I'm loving that, but it's like super dramatic. It's not gonna look as dramatic when I do the lid. I actually found myself the past week, like as we got home, trying to do like fall cleaning. And I don't ever remember being like so motivated to clean. Like as soon as we got home, I cleaned everything. I spent 2 days just cleaning the entire house, organizing, redoing my closet. Like I was so productive. So obviously fall has me feeling all kinds of ways. I have like all these little plans I've put for myself, like just different things that I can do to like kind of reward myself, I think. That sounds so odd, but I just am trying to find joy in little things because I know that probably this winter is going to be really hard. That's what people keep telling us. So I'm kind of just trying to like give myself things to take care of like my own mental health. Like I scheduled a hair appointment. I haven't been to like a legit hair stylist in months, since I guess February. So I scheduled a hair appointment and I'm looking forward to that. I literally am giving myself like 1 day a week where I take the afternoon off to just do something with myself, which is something that I didn't do, I think like the whole first year of being a mom, that I think would have really helped me. I mean, like the whole first year that I was a mom, I really didn't take a lot of time for myself. And in hindsight, I think that would have helped me a lot with the transition of not being a mom to being a mom. I mean, if you've done that transition before, if you've gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, you know, it's so different. You kind of have to get to know yourself all over again. And I think that's one reason that I'm feeling so good about this season change. Like I was speaking about earlier, it feels like a new season for me. And I feel like I can look at it and say, you know what, I've grown. I recognize myself again. I think that's something that so many women struggle with after they have a baby, is just getting to know yourself again, because so much changes. Your entire day-to-day changes, your priorities change, your body changes, and that's another thing, your body changes. And I am really looking forward to, this sounds crazy, but I'm looking forward to exercising. So I literally have put it into my plan to exercise. I have a Peloton that I do not use enough. I am going to use it. I am committing myself to that. And I'm looking forward to that because, you know, it's so funny. I used to think that it's weird, but I think all women have gone through this. I really used to think that I was like chubby. And I was never chubby. I will insert a picture. I was so little. I was very skinny. And I don't know why I didn't realize that I was skinny, but I always felt like, oh, I'm just kind of like chubby. I'm not like skinny. I'm not really fat, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know why I was telling myself that. Like I look back on it and I'm like, wow, I did not enjoy my skinny days enough. So I'm not like putting a lot of pressure on myself to get back to any kind of certain weight. I just want to feel more in shape because I definitely feel out of shape. And that's one thing I will say that I think I've talked about before. I absolutely refused to put any pressure on myself about like my weight when I was pregnant. And in the year after, I have absolutely refused. I was like, a year after, I will worry about it then, but I am not going to put myself through that kind of pressure. There was just already so much that I was adjusting to. And I know some women, like it's super natural for them to just go back to their original weight. I know that there are some women that like that's a big priority for them. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying for me, I was just not going to put myself under that pressure because I know that I am extremely hard on myself anyway. And I just didn't want to do that to myself. I mean, I think I'm really lucky because honestly, with everything going on, I think everyone's kind of been lax on their diet and workout plan. So that kind of took some of the pressure off, but I definitely knew going into it that like I was not gonna do that to myself. I just realized that I never set my concealer. I just got talking with you guys and I was like, oh, let's just do this. So honestly, like it was so hard. It was so funny because while I was away and not filming, I would literally like lay down at night and be like talking as if I was filming like in my head. I do that sometimes because like I said, at this point, it's just something that I take so much joy in doing. And so I really was missing it. And I would just sit there at night as I was falling asleep and like the maybe 5 minutes it would take me to fall asleep because I was so dead tired. I would just be like, okay, I'd be like, hey guys, how are you? Like just talking to you guys, to myself in my head. So for cheeks, I'm going to use some of these color drops, the serum blush from Michelle Phan. I'm using the shade Sunset Sky. I don't know if I've mentioned yet, but I now own this in every color that she makes because I was obsessed with these and they were always sold out. And so finally, when they did a restock, I picked them all up. It actually took me 2 orders because I placed one order, got everything that was in stock, and then I think the next day I got an email, like a promotional email saying that they had just restocked. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So I went and picked up all the colors that I wasn't able to get originally. And man, am I glad I did. These are so nice. I feel like they are just so fresh looking. If you like cream blushes, I think you'll really like this. It is obviously like a lighter and a thinner consistency. Like the viscosity is obviously a liquid, not a cream, but it has that same like refreshing kind of like dewy finish that I think a lot of us like in a cream blush. And they're super buildable, which is something that I really, really like. I feel like I use the word buildable a lot when I talk about like Charlotte Tilbury products and some other brands that I really like that I consistently reach for, because I love that when you can build something up, you can really achieve kind of a more natural finish, which is what I'm always looking for. I never really, I mean, obviously I'm wearing makeup, I get that, but I kind of subscribe to like have you ever heard the expression like, she didn't wear the dress wore her. Like, you know, don't let the dress wear you. You want to wear the dress, you know, that kind of sense. That's kind of how I feel about makeup. Like, I don't want my makeup to wear me. Like, I want to be the star, and then my makeup is, you know, enhancing everything. And so I find that I go for that. And I think I kind of always have. I've always kind of fallen prey to beauty trends occasionally, but I don't think I've ever gone so crazy that it was like, you know, I was unrecognizable or anything like that. Not that that's a bad thing if that's what you're into. If that's what you're into, you're probably not watching me because I would be probably pretty boring for you. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't have an issue with how anyone wants to do their makeup. This is just what I like. I'm gonna put like a dot on my nose because I'm just feeling it, and I'm loving this color. I think it's so lovely, and I picked it because it looked like it would go really well with my sweater, and I was right. I was so right. I always do my lips very last. Is that what everyone does? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below. Do you do your lips like very last? I almost never do anything after lips except like setting spray. I'll do like a setting spray and that's it. Lips are always like my like end of the line, pull everything together. I think because for me, it's really hard to know which lip to pick, like the exact color and finish, until I've seen what the rest of my face looks like. Today I think I'm gonna do lip liner and gloss. This is like my favorite lip liner. So this is the gloss I was wanting to use. This is the Magic Hour gloss from M Cosmetics. This is the one that they kind of tout as going with the blush that I used. So let's see. Ooh, I don't know why I was expecting this to be darker than it is. I actually really like this. Not bad. All right, face is done. Oh, it was so good to sit down and chat with you guys. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments what kind of like fall content would you like to see from me. I'm thinking about doing a day in the life video, but I know sometimes people don't like those. Let me know if it's something you'd like to see and maybe I will film one. Until next time, you can always chat with me in the comments below or over on Instagram. Bye.